expecting to see some gusty winds, could see some damaging winds with this. Keep that in mind as you make your morning commute. A lot of our eastern communities expected to be hit the hardest with some of the heavier rainfall, but we do have some high temperatures getting back into those mid 90s, lower in 90s for areas that are going to be inundated with the rain chances for the morning, but still expecting those heat index values to be right around that criteria for a heat advisory. Keep in mind, over these next few days, our temperatures are getting back into those mid 90s. We're going to make sure we pause for the pause here. Take about 7 seconds to press your hand to the asphalt or concrete. Make sure your pet's paws can take it. If you can't, then they probably can't either. So looking ahead to the rest of this week, still going to be a hot week ahead. Rain chances return by the weekend, bringing us more opportunities for some cooler conditions, bringing us back into the 80s, but still quite stuffy.
Alrighty, well, don't forget, WAAY 31 gives you 24/7 coverage you can count on. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and have a great rest of your evening. LawCall is next, so be sure to stay tuned in.
LawCall is provided in the public interest by Timberlake League and Brooks, which pays an advertising fee to this station.
This is WAAY 31 LawCall.
Good evening and welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviet. Tonight it's Ask Us Anything night, so calling your questions on any legal topic, anything from car accidents, maybe you've been injured, maybe you're thinking about a divorce, maybe you're in a dispute with a neighbor over a property line. This is your chance to call in, be live on the air, and ask us your question, 256-536-0077. You can also text your question to that same number. We've got some text questions coming in. You can also email a legal question on any legal topic any day of the week. You send it to lawcall@waaytv.com, and when we get to a show that's on point, we pull some out. We've got some of your email questions lined up tonight. We've also got William Messervy from Timberlake League and Brooks tonight. Good to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Been a good weekend, been a warm weekend, lots of things going on.
A little bit wet too.
A little bit wet, and a lot of folks getting ready to go back to school. Maybe you're wrapping up some summertime activities and you've got questions of a legal matter, so call in and be live with us on the air. While we get some of your calls started, we are also going to start with tonight's You Make the Law Call video. So this looks like it's in another country.
It does.
But this bus is going out of control. We're going to see it again. It's going to go a little bit slower this time. We can't really tell what caused it. I don't know if the bus was trying to avoid missing a bunch of these motorcyclists or if they just lost control and lurched out of control. Looks like nobody was seriously injured, and smart lady on the
left-hand
scooter
turn
there.
And never stops making a
Never stops until he has to. So
yeah.
when you're looking at something like that, what are your thoughts? And what are your thoughts about if it happened in the United States, looks like a foreign country, what would be the investigation process to figure out who's at fault?
Well, I don't think there's going to be any question here that the bus is going to be at fault. You know, I think there's a couple considerations. If we look at the person on the moped,
yeah,
which has this really cool awning to
very
keep the
sweet
sun off
little,
them, which
yeah.
I've never seen before.
I've
I like
seen
that. But in any event, that person is going to have a claim, you know, if they were injured. Certainly they're going to have a claim for their property damage. Now, one interesting thing that we can take from this video is Alabama has something called the guest passenger statute. Okay, so if someone's riding in the car with me and I caused the accident.
You're the driver.
I'm the driver,
okay.
And I caused the accident. It's not some other car's fault. Let's just say I run my car into a tree on accident, right? Well, the people in the car with me can't make a claim against me.
Even if you made a big mistake?
Even if I made a big mistake, okay? Because they're guests in my vehicle, all right? Now, if they're in my vehicle and some other car causes it, you know, we all have a claim.
Okay.
Now, if someone pays me for that ride, now they're a passenger.
Okay.
Okay, and they can make a claim against me for my own negligence. And so here, you know, with a bus, they're a common carrier. What under the law we call common carrier.
Okay.
Okay, so the guest passenger statute would not apply. So if you're riding on a bus or in a cab or, you know, potentially an Uber, you know, somewhere where you're paying for the ride, could be a carpool.
Yeah.
You know, then if you were to be injured through the negligence of the driver of the vehicle in which you were in, then you can still make a recovery. You can bring a claim in that instance. So, you know, that's something that comes to mind anytime you see a bus But that's pretty wild.
Yeah, pretty serious. We're going to talk a little bit about motorized bicycles, e-bikes, in just a minute, but we've got some callers calling in. We've got LaToya on the line with a question from Madison. Hi, LaToya. Good evening. What's your question tonight?
Hi. Yes, I was in an accident, and in the course of the accident, the driver came over into my lane and hit me and ran off on the side of the road. When the police came, they took both of our statements, and they did indicate to me that she indicated that I hit her from the back and ran her off the road. Mm-hmm. The police gave me the police report later, some days later. The police report indicated that there were two different scenarios for the incident, but they said that my story matched up with the damage, the impact for the car. Now, since then, I talked to my insurance company and was told, do not file, wait for her to file because it should be filed up under her insurance since she was at fault. However, she has gotten an attorney, and that attorney reached out to my insurance company, and my insurance company put a claim and has asked me, since it has been a course of a couple of days, to go ahead and pay and get everything done. And I guess I just wanted to know, is that typical of what I should do since I was not at fault and the accident report shows that I wasn't at fault?
Good info.
Yeah, so unfortunate series of events that have occurred here for LaToya. And the only dispute I would make with what you said is I don't think the accident report makes clear who is at fault. It shows both stories as to what both drivers said happened.
And how important is it whether the police report says one thing or the other?
It can be important. It's a useful tool that insurance companies and lawyers use in evaluating claims, and certainly for LaToya right now,
it's important.
It would be important if it matched what actually happened in the accident. However, you bring up a good point. It's not admissible in court. Okay. It is hearsay unless the officer actually witnessed the wreck.
Okay.
So what's going on here is sort of the classic he said, she said, right? And in that instance, if LaToya has full coverage, okay, the other party's insurance company has a duty to, in a respect, listen to the story their insured has told them. Okay. Now, sometimes they'll make a business decision and pay a claim anyways. But it sounds like here they're listening to what their insured told them happened in the wreck, not what LaToya said happened in the wreck. And so if LaToya has full coverage, she can make that claim on her own insurance for the property damage. And I think what she was referring to when she said go ahead and pay it, I think she's referring to paying her deductible.
Probably, yeah, that's what it sounded like to me too.
That could be $500, it could be $1,000. Now what will happen is all of the insurance companies participate in an agreement called the Inter-Insurance Arbitration Agreement. And under that agreement, her insurance will go through arbitration to get their money back from the other driver's insurance company. In the event they're successful, and if, like LaToya said, the property damage matches her version of what happened, not the version of the other driver, then, you know, her company will be successful in getting their money back. And when they do, they'll also get her deductible back.
Okay.
And so a lot of times you're out of pocket that deductible for 5 to 6 months. After that process concludes, you have probably not forgotten about it, but have a happy Thursday when you go to the mailbox and that $500 or $1,000 is sitting in there. Now, sometimes they lose at arbitration. Okay. And then you feel kind of double slighted, right? Because, you know, so, and there are some things you can do to protect yourself in these scenarios. Dashboard cameras are a great way to do that. They're not the cheapest thing. Yeah. But, you know, I can't tell you how many times someone comes to my office and the report says one thing and they're like, hey, I've got this dash cam. Or there was this commercial truck behind me and it had a dash cam and the driver said, email him and he'll send it to you. You know, and then you look at what actually happened And it's different, right? Because these things happen so quickly.
Yeah.
Human memory is, you're not watching it from above.
Right.
You're right in the middle of the action, and you can't see everything that's going on in that. But,
Would it be wise for LaToya to try and get any kind of information, any kind of evidence? Don't wait on that, right? If there are any phone numbers or anything, any people to identify?
That would have been done at the scene.
Okay.
Okay. Or sometimes the accident reports will have a witness on there.
Okay.
Now, generally speaking, if the witness is saying the same thing as one of the drivers, the officer's going to note that in his report. And it can be tough to find a lawyer to represent you in something like this if there's just property damage.
No personal injury, no bodily damage.
There's no injury or no serious injury.
Right.
Right? And the reason for that is what it would cost is probably more than your property damage.
Right.
Right? To hire a lawyer, go to court on those types of things. So a lot of times people end up resolving these things in small claims court, different things like that. But here, the good news for LaToya, if she has full coverage, is she can go through her insurance company. They'll go through that arbitration process. But if she doesn't have full coverage and just has liability only, basically her only option would be to sue them in small claims court.
Okay. Good luck, LaToya. We've got Linda on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Linda. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yes.
Hi, Linda. What's your question tonight? Welcome.
Okay. My sister passed away lately, and she's been living with me. She passed away from Alzheimer's dementia. She had a stroke and had Alzheimer's dementia. And I was going through some of her paperwork, trying to find out, exactly what her insurance company, what kind of insurance she had for life insurance.
Yeah.
And I thought I had changed all her insurance policies over into my name as beneficiary. But these are all a small insurance policy. Okay. I tried to cancel it. And I also tried to change it over, the beneficiary over into my name. And I thought the insurance company gave me a hard time about changing it. I actually just forgot about it.
Okay. And that was that you tried that before she passed, but by the time she passed away, it had not been switched over, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I've been paying it, but right. And I've been paying this out of my personal account for about the last 5 years.
Gotcha.
And didn't realize I was still paying for that insurance. Is there anything I can do?
Probably not. Sometimes they will refund you your premiums, so it'd be worth reaching out.
Okay.
But, by and large, life insurance policies pass outside of the estate.
Okay.
And so it's going to go to whoever was listed as the beneficiary. And one of the reasons it can be very difficult to change the beneficiary status on those is, once a person gets Alzheimer's or dementia, they have an altered mental status, right? And so, if someone didn't have a power of attorney in place or a guardianship or something like that, it can be very difficult to, make those types of changes. But that's not something that's going to get drawn into the estate if you were to open an estate and try to go through the probate court and go through that entire process, where things pass according to a will. Right. Or according to the rules of intestate succession, which is what happens if someone dies without a will. Life insurance is going to be outside of that process.
So even if the sister had written in a will, I want Linda to have the proceeds from this life insurance policy. If that's not how it was signed up for the beneficiary status, it's not going to Linda.
It never gets drawn in.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We've got a lot more questions coming in. Stay with us.
Brooks, which pays an advertising fee to this station.
You're watching WAAY 31 Law Call, the Tennessee Valley's only live legal call-in show for 30 years and counting. Presented by the award-winning personal injury and wrongful death law firm Timberlake, League & Brooks, featuring the knowledge and experience of attorney Michael Timberlake, attorney Will League, attorney Heath Brooks, attorney William Messervy, attorney Bobby Marsh, and hosted by family law attorney Sharon Doviet. Your rights, your calls, live. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back to 31 Law Call. We are really here live on Sunday night to answer your questions, and we've got some folks waiting and some calls and some text messages coming in. The number's there, 536-0077. William Messervy is here with us this weekend, and he had a lot of things going on this weekend. It's always interesting to see what the guys are doing. What did you do this weekend?
Well, this weekend I just hung out, but about 2 weeks ago I went with...
Where is that?
That is the New River Gorge in West Virginia. I went with a group of Boy Scouts to the Summit Bechtel National Scout Camp. That's my son Henry.
Hey, Henry.
I caught him himself a fish. And so that scout camp butts up against the New River Gorge National Park in West Virginia. And we went and we had a big time.
Very nice.
Lived in a field for a week, which I haven't done since I was a Boy Scout. And it was fun. There were some better creature comforts, though. They had hot water for showers, believe it or not. So we had a big time.
Is that just you and your son, or a whole group from Huntsville?
That's a whole group from Huntsville.
How many is that from Huntsville?
And his troop, there were about 30 kids.
Very nice.
30, including adults. So
well done.
Yeah,
Hope you've gotten some rest since then.
I have, yeah.
We'd gotten in a question. Somebody was following up. You know, earlier in the show, you were talking about if you're riding in a vehicle with somebody else. If you're driving and you have an accident and I'm in the vehicle with you, I can't sue you. They wrote in and said, okay, is that still the same if the driver was drunk or inebriated, but you as the passenger were unaware? Would you still not be able to file any kind of charges against the driver?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
You know, so when someone is drinking and driving, right, that's a step beyond negligence. That's wantonness.
Okay.
Okay, so you would be able to pursue the driver in that scenario for their wantonness, for the drinking and driving, assuming you didn't know they were drunk and hopped in the car with them, right? So there are, you know, some exceptions, some carve-outs, but you wouldn't be able to sue them for their negligence in just that type of scenario. But wantonness carries with it punitive damages instead of compensatory damages, and the short of it is, if they were drunk or high or, you know, something else that would get you to that punitive damages level, to that wantonness level, then you could still bring a cause of action.
What if it were a child in a vehicle with a parent and the parent has been drinking or smoking something? Can a child potentially sue a parent?
Yeah, so children are another carve-out, right? They can't sue their own parent.
Okay.
But children, minor children, can be a carve-out from the Alabama Guest Passenger Statute as well.
Okay.
But they're typically not going to be able to sue their own mom or dad for negligence.
Gotcha.
For wantonness, possibly.
We've got Remy on the line with a question from Tuscumbia. Hi, Remy. Thanks for calling. Thanks for watching tonight. What's your question?
Hi, Sharon. Hi, Will.
Hey.
Will, I'm envious. I wish I could go to that park. I understand it was free for the first. Is it still free to get in because it's new?
I didn't pay anything. Yeah,
Good.
we went and we checked in with the park officer and we did some hiking around on a couple of the trails, and we didn't have to pay a fee, so it was.
Looks beautiful.
It was nice.
Excellent. I had some water damage, and of course I have homeowners insurance, and I'm not a construction person, but I had the guy come out here from the restoration services, and they did an estimate of what has to be repaired, and I assume what the cost is for the different rooms. And because tile was involved, then they're going to have to jackhammer the floor and put tile down. Well, I did some research, and I found that porcelain tile is what you want to use for, like, bathrooms and hard surfaces for walking on and things of that nature, which is what this tile has to be. So they gave me a list of tiles from their distributor. And so when I told the guy, I said, I don't see, you know, any porcelain ones on here. And he goes, oh, that's really expensive, and, you know, we can get that, but, you know, that's higher dollar. And so my concern is this. If I want to put the porcelain down, which I believe I have down there already, that they're going to be tearing up, and they called it in at a lower price than what it would cost to repair it with the porcelain, am I going to just be stuck with what price they set the estimate at, or
Good question.
am I going to be able to go higher?
And your insurance company has accepted the claim?
Yes, they have.
Okay. So the first step is going to be reach out and talk to your insurance company. And believe it or not, you know, you don't insure when you fill out that paperwork to get homeowners insurance. You're going to designate what type of finishes and what type of materials were used in the construction. And, you know, if you've been paying the higher premium for the higher material, the higher cost material, then it should be covered. But you might have to, you know, dig back through that paperwork, see what was disclosed, what wasn't. But typically, you know, if you're insuring your house for those higher finishes, it's going to cost more than if you're insuring your house for construction grade finishes or something lower.
So even if he had porcelain before, even if he could prove it was porcelain before, it doesn't necessarily mean he's entitled to get porcelain put back in.
It would depend what he insured it for and what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So now sometimes the cost isn't that big of a difference, and maybe you want to upgrade.
Yeah.
Or get a higher finish, and maybe you're going to pay the difference between the two.
Yeah.
But here, I think you're going to have to talk to your insurance company, see what was insured. Now, if you had, that type of tile before, and you disclose that to the insurance company, and you've been paying the premium for that for this entire time, then yeah, they should pay that.
Good luck with it, Remy. We've got Tim on the line with a question from Albertville in our last few minutes here. Hi, Tim. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight? Hey, Tim, you still with us? Tim from Albertville? Okay. Talk to us just for a minute about e-bikes. So many kids are out there on e-bikes. They're everywhere, all over the streets.
Yeah.
Problems? You seeing problems?
Well, I think it is one of those areas of law where the law hasn't quite caught up with technology.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not really a bicycle, is it?
It's not. And the law divides them into three categories. So class 1, which still has pedals, is similar to a bike. And, this is something that a lot of people use, and it
helps a little.
Helps them,
yeah.
Right? But these class 2 and class 3, which are just throttle-based, basically a kid can ride those up to 20 miles per hour.
Okay.
There's not necessarily helmet laws unless the city puts them on them, And just to give you an idea, when you fly past these people on these road bikes cruising, they're going 18 to 20 miles per hour. Grown adults moving fast.
Yeah.
And now you've got an 8-year-old on one, and they're running them in the back of cars.
Yeah.
And stationary cars, curbs, and getting seriously injured. So be careful. Make sure you know how to ride a regular bike first.
Start at the beginning.
That's
We're
right.
going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions. Stay with us.
an advertising fee to this station.
If you didn't get your questions answered tonight, here's how to get in touch with William Messervy from Timberlake, League & Brooks in Huntsville, 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com. And if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And Sharon Doviet, she is a family law attorney practicing divorce, adoptions, all things family law related. You can get in touch with her, 256-539-7337, www.sharonfamilylaw.com.
Brian in the control room had a follow-up on your statement before. He asked, so if a police officer sees the accident, is he conflicted out of doing the police report?
He can still do the report, but he's going to probably put on there what he saw.
Okay.
And the good news is, if he saw it, that means the camera in his car saw it.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Good info. Thank you for all your questions, and we'll see you next week.